So the big drama this week has been the brick. This is the chimney on the south side, southwest side. We were using it as a laundry room. It was one of the kitchens. You can see in here, this has been long slated to be demolished because it's in such really rough shape. You see that massive crack in the back there. Goes all the way through and all the way down. You can see back down in there. I don't know if you can see it down there. But out here, another massive crack. It's kind of separated itself from the house already. Crack up top. So rather than rebuild this, we wanted this floor space, and we had kind of planned for this while we were living here this past year. I was able to get in here and investigate. This was a closet, so I was able to get in here and see these cracks, and that scared me. And I got in on the other side and saw the others. And check. Once they demoed the rest of this, it's actually worse up higher. So there's no hope for this chimney. My hope is that we can peel it away without damaging too much of what's going on outside. We're still waiting on our mason for final word, but we got a couple of things as rolling possibilities here. None of them are going to be particularly cheap, but this was one we were planning on. This goes away, and so this kind of rectangular chunk from about there to there, that is Ollie's fireplace above here. So there's a bedroom with a fireplace right above it. This is the support for it. So in taking this away, it was determined that we pretty much have to take the other away unless we wanted to bring steel beams in and do some like major engineering to try to keep that fireplace. It's a bedroom. We don't need it for heat. We do want the chimney to come out of the roof the way it always has and look the same from the outside, but we determined that both of these fireplaces upstairs and down were going to come out. And that's the way we had left it. Chimney coming through the roof still, but these fireplaces coming down. So then over here, this fireplace has the least drama of any of them. It's actually in pretty darn good shape, very few cracks, needs some repointing, has some loose timbers in here that need to be removed. This is just pieces of wood that were let into the brick. Very bizarre, but maybe, I don't know, maybe that's normal. The mantle over here, mantle for the floor above, not mantle, hearth. The hearth from up above has all fallen out. You'll be able to see it on the other side. It was doing the same thing. But that's not a big deal because we're not going to put a hearth in there anyway because we're closing these up. So this is no big deal. There's plenty of room for the thickness of a wall here to get insulation between this side and the window. And on this side, there's just barely enough space. That's like literally, the light is terrible, but that's about as thick as it's going to go, so it'll run right into the window on this side. So again, it all worked out. It's been looked over by the framers and architects, and we agree that that's good. We're going to just leave it alone, and yes, we will end up closing it up for insulation and air sealing purposes, but shouldn't be. This was what we were hoping for out of all of them. On the opposite side, this is now the north side of the house, northeast corner. It's a little different. We got plenty of room over here for that wall. The brick is in much rougher shape. I think it can be repaired. It's not the end of the world. It really all comes down to these pieces of wood that were let in here and expanded and contracted over and over again. You can see that whole thing moving here. That's not awesome. So obviously we got to get that straightened out, but this is a little more concerning from a structural standpoint. What do we got to do to make this right again? It clearly had some issues. I think it was falling forward. It's probably why they bricked this in. So this was going to be closed up anyway. So we got to figure out how we're going to handle this, how we're going to treat it. On this side, the brick is deteriorating terribly. This is all just kind of turning to dust. You have to look at it too hard, and it's just crumbling away. So this clearly got a lot of moisture, and there's other signs of damage down here in the exterior wall as well. So the real issue is that this side, for some reason, is like one course of brick closer than it is on the other. So since we're doing as much work to probably repair and shore up this chimney, I think at the same time they're going to take it back like one course of brick, so probably to about there, all the way up, which will give that space for a stud wall with insulation and air sealing, so that we can have a warm house and a cool house in the summertime. So that's right now, that is what we are looking at. Some pretty major rebuild of this one, this fireplace. So, which brings us to the big topic of conversation. The other three, right? This fireplace over here and how we're treating that chimney, we didn't learn anything new. This one was good and is good up above, and we didn't learn anything new. It's exactly what we were hoping for everywhere. This one was pretty disappointing. Would probably take a lot of work to fix, but hopefully we don't have to completely rebuild it. So we're okay to this point. And then we got to this one, and we thought it was in pretty good shape, but once this, from above the level here, this was all framed in and closed in, and we never got to see any of this until recently. And we've got evidence of lots of cracking, just like the other side. Some more major cracking, just like the other side. On the ends, same deal. It's very dark. You can see the huge cracks going up this way. Another one up above it. So the whole thing's kind of leaning forward just a little bit. You can also see the fireplace from upstairs through that gap there. And so it's being supported by all of this stuff that's cracked and pulling and falling off of the house here. So that is not ideal. That is not at all what we were hoping to find. We got more cracking down here. Bad lighting, but so we've had lots of discussions about what to do with this. I desperately want to keep it. I think it's important. I think that, the few number of us that were welcomed into this house with any regularity probably spent most of your time sitting at the table that was right here and around this warm fire and this fireplace. And that to me, I think I was only in this house before we bought it a handful of times, and most of the time I was sitting at the table here and, with Dad or talking to Herb and just kind of visiting right in this room. And so this fireplace kind of means something to me, and I'm sure it would mean something to other people in the family. And so we're going to try what the popular opinion is right now is that it is not structurally sound. Here's some more cracking right here that you can see. So I tend to agree with that. Clearly this has been settling. There's some cracks outside in the brick as well. And we're going to try to, rather than try to fix it, the other big issue is that we can't get behind it. Like the other side, it looks like this one is done just a little differently, and there's actually brick right there, so it's closed up, whereas the other side was open behind it. So what we're going to try to do is treat this end kind of like that end. where we were taking everything down, upstairs and down, and just having a chimney come out the roof. On this side, instead of taking it all the way down, we're going to take it from about here up, including the floor above, because again, there's nothing for it to be supported by. And if we do that, quite frankly, there aren't those cracks down below that area, and it's a whole lot less weight for the foundation underneath. We haven't really gotten a look at yet, but this was settling and falling for a reason, and we're hoping that it was because of the weight of the massive amount of brick and chimney above. So if we eliminate that, what we can do is just keep this maybe halfway back, and that'll open up space behind us here to get insulation along that back wall and all the way behind it. And then this will be just kind of like a platform. What to do with the rest of it, we're not exactly sure of. I think I'd like to put the mantle back the way that it was, and then maybe do like some upper cabinets. This is the end of our kitchen, quite frankly. And so we'll have no uppers on this side. We will have uppers. See these studs right along here, really along this opening here is where the other side of the wall. So basically this whole space here is the kitchen. It's going to be a galley style. And so we'll have uppers up here. It would be kind of neat to have some more upper storage cabinets up here, up above the fireplace. So make them feel and look like they're built in, but behind it would all be insulated and vapor barriered, and we'd be able to enclose it as, you know, part of the house. So that's what we're hoping for. We will see. If they have to take it all the way down, I just don't know that it would be financially viable or worth our while, because, like, you know, all these bricks are kind of broken in time and rounded in certain places and worn in. The other side over here is the most prevalent. You can really see the wear and tear and use of this over the years. So, like, taking it apart and then rebuilding it in the same spot, even using the same bricks, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be new. And I don't know if the benefit at that point, without the charm of the real thing, I don't know if I'd spend the money to rebuild it if we can't just leave it alone and demo behind it. So I don't know. We gotta continue to pick at it and see what it brings. But that's the hope, is we can basically from that level up, we would take this away and then preserve everything down below, everything that you have always been able to see. But stay tuned on that. We'll know more in a few days when the mason finally gets out here and tells us what he can and cannot do, what is worthwhile and what is not worthwhile for us to tackle here. The one wild card is really that mason and what he says we should be doing here. I will just start preparing people that there is, it makes me want to throw up when I even say it, there is a possibility right now that with the extensive damage on the brick on both sides, inside and out, on both ends, that we may be looking at taking all of the brick down. And then we got to decide, how do we handle that to bring it back? What do we want to do to bring it back? What are we willing to do to bring the brick back if the mason comes out here and says, this is beyond hope. It will cost you half your budget to rebuild this. Clearly we can't do that, so But right now we're waiting and going to hear him out and find out what the real deal is. And also the structural engineer, see what can be done, what can be saved before we punt on this. That would be the worst case scenario. And unfortunately, it is still in play. Worst case scenario is still in play. Hopefully next weekend, I got better news for you. The exterior looks good. I'm excited about that. And hopefully the basement comes along next week. I'm sure they're going to be spending most of their time in the basement next week. So stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll even get a little bit of digging here in the crawl space now that we've got access to it. Oh, and the windows will be gone. So that'll be a big change from the outside. We'll see some new stuff going on for demo there as well. Yeah. So hope everyone is good. We've gotten less views and less likes and all that stuff for our most recent videos. So if you're watching this one, make sure that you like, subscribe, and click that notification bell, the little bell next to subscribe. We'll give you a reminder once we posted a new video, so that you know to come and check it out. So that'll help get our views up. The boys, Will and Cole, are very motivated by views. So hopefully, if we keep watching these videos, they will keep making them. So take care. Hope everybody's doing well. And see you next week.